Never seen a smile so big on my little old lady's face until I tell her I'm going fishing all weekend. Pack up all of my bait, I make plans for 7:45, then I swing around, pick up my date for the weekend. Some reason she seems to please when I'm leaving. There's something I'm missing when I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing. When I'm gone fishing.
Yeah, baby.
Yes, sir. Who have we got here? We got Steve Shaw's in the house. How you doing, Steve? We got Stephen Reach. Nice to see you as well. Richard Dunlop, buddy. I don't know where you find the time to sit and watch CFN Live with all the sharing that you do, you busy buddy. Nice to see you. Ed McKenzie, buddy. I didn't realize. I guess you had mentioned it last week when we were on live that you'd gotten out fishing. I didn't realize you had, buddy. Fantastic. That's awesome. Tony's in the house. Sonia's here. How we doing, Eve? Jay Pierce is with us. James Shembry is also here. Lloyd Bront. Always a pleasure to see you, Lloyd. Justin's in the house. Nice to see you as well. Same winter here. No. Some winter. Yes, absolutely. Dean Howard, nice to see you. You are on the list as well. And tonight, you might be the one that receives $100 in showbucks for the Made in Canada CFN /POW tackle show that's going on in Woodstock. If you haven't seen it and you don't know, we will be getting to that as well as a whole bunch of announcements. So please stay tuned. We'll get through them real quick. Of course, we're going to be on here with Big Jim. Lawrence is going to be coming on and as a special guest because we want to wish Jay Barnews, Trevor, and Nolan, who are putting on a seminar, and I believe it's for a local fire or police department. So we wish them well, safe travels. But we got Moose coming. And I'm not 100% sure, but Andy might be here as well, talking about the spring fishing and boat show. So, of course, we will get to that right away. If you don't know, it's happening. It starts this Friday. All right, the spring fishing and boat show. If you haven't got a ticket, this is how you do it. This is how you pre-register. As I said, Moose will be on here to talk all about that later on tonight, but he'll be joining us, so we look forward to seeing him there. And I know Steve's probably putting up a whole bunch of links, but as I said, for right now, that's what I have. If you are looking to pre-purchase a ticket, that's how you can do it. That's where you go. There's the website, and of course, the location is at the International Center. If you go over to the website, you'll get all the times. But as I said, Moose and perhaps Andy will be here later to discuss all that with us. Of course, if you want to head down and see these sexy lads, we're going to be at the Ottawa Boat and Outdoor Show. Of course, Jim will come up and talk a little bit about that as we get to his segment. But that is February 22nd to the 25th. Love to see all of you OFC Nation and CFNers at that. It should be a really, really good time. And, of course, the Sportsman Show, which is March 14th to the 17th. We're going to be there as well with the Next Gen Young Anglers Derbies that we are currently hosting and putting on and promoting. But we look forward to seeing you there as well. But this is the big one. Of course, it is the Made in Canada Tackle Shop. And, of course, I want everybody right now to go prepay to buy a prepaid ticket. That's the website that you need to go to. It's on the overlay, as you can say. But before we move from that, I just want to mention, it's not that this is going to be the greatest show. It's not that, all the greatest deals are going to be at this show. And it's really important that I mention this. It's not what this show is, it's what this show represents. So if you're a firm believer like I am, if you are one of those folks like I am, if you try to push the emphasis and the need to buy local, to shop local, to support local, this is your chance. Whether you go to this show or not, we'd love to see every single person there. What this show represents is a means of gathering all of the Canadian-owned companies. Perhaps some of your components are made overseas. Perhaps you import some stuff. But if it is a Canadian-owned company that does some of its production, a lot of its promotion, and gives back to Canadian angling groups and the Canadian angling industry, the show is for you. This is why we're doing it. We're doing it for these Canadian folks, because these folks are the ones that got us through COVID. They're the ones that supply us all kinds of prizes for when it comes time for our various events, whether it be a retreat, a derby, a lake event, a whole bunch of stuff. We'd love to be able to give stuff to our community. And we do so with the ability because of these companies. So and I'm saying that, I'm calling on all of you, whether you're able to go to the show or you're not, a $10 investment to purchase a ticket means that there is still a chance that you can get some show dollars if you're on the fence whether you're going to go or not. But you're also contributing and helping out the Canadian tackle industry as large, because as you will see, Brad from POW Casting and myself, we've worked very hard to put this all together, and it really is it's a rally cry for all you Canadian tackle companies. So whether you're able to come or not, purchase a ticket, because you're supporting a cause, and we're hoping to be able to do it again if this becomes a successful show. But as I said, I invite all of you to go over to the webpage below and buy a ticket, not just because you want to go, but because you want to support local. I hate to say it to be disrespectful, but we need to put our money where our mouth is. And everybody has suggested that we buy local. Everybody sees the need to support and prop up our Canadian tackle producers. Well, here's your chance. Here's your chance. So whether you're going or not, whether you have any inclination to be able to do it, perhaps it's too far to travel. I mean, I'm certainly not asking people to go out of the way. All I'm saying is, if you truly want to support our Canadian tackle industry, buy a ticket. That's how you do it. Okay. I'm not done. I'm done preaching. I'm not going to say anymore. But as I said, I'd love to see everybody there, because it's going to be a great time. Food's going to be made available. Of course, we've got some great vendors where we post this on a regular basis. So we'd love to see more folks pre-buy some tickets. But we just love to see you there, because as I said, this is a rally cry for all those who are part of the Canadian tackle industry that we've been able to get to this show. It's for you. We're doing this for folks like you, and we appreciate you in ways that we can't even begin to thank, but we will do our best to try and do so. Of course, sticking with the show season, of course, April 7th, we're going to be at CanCast. We're hoping to see you folks there as well. And then, of course, Horwood Lake Lodge. I'm over the moon to learn that we only have the one cabin left. There's only one cabin left that sleeps 4. And we'd love to have you up there, because it is a fantastic. I know Richard has done a lot of work promoting the heck out of this place. Myself, CFN as a large. Lisa Tatchell does a lot. Warren and Doris do it as well. But there's a lot of promotion going on currently right now for Horwood, and the fact that it's almost a full house. That's awesome, man. I love that. Great to see it. So here's a 30-second promo. If you're on the fence, not really sure, we are going to be up there August 11th to the 17th. The cost is $875 for the week, plus tax, of course, per person. And what that includes, of course, is somewhere for you to lay your head. It will include all the food you could possibly want to eat, never mind have available to eat. You never go hungry at this place. We usually have a fish fry every night. So again, when it comes to food, worry not, my friend. You're going to have lots to eat. But $875 includes, as I said, your bed to lay your head. It also includes all your food. It also includes a boat rental if required. If you need a boat, The boat will be made available with a motor, with gas, and your minnows for $875. I can't believe that Warren and Doris are able to do this for us again this year, but they have. And as I said, if you are interested in coming, whether it be the CFN retreat or just you want to go and see if we're just full of malarkey and we're making this all up, please go over to horwoodlakelodge.com and see for yourself, or give Warren and Doris a call. As I said, they are great and very approachable and would love to hear from you. And of course, last but not least, we are going to be back at Camp McIntosh for the 3rd annual OFC Nation retreat. As I said, if you have not been to Camp McIntosh, you have no idea what you're missing, but we'd love to share it with you because it's a heck of a good time. And in terms of fishery, you never know what you're going to catch. That's why, we have things like Monster Monday features for Camp McIntosh, because you should see some of the monsters they catch. Have a look at this. Nice to see Mark Albeck in the house. Go to Horwood. Yeah, Mark has certainly had lots of success there. Mark, nice to see you, and I appreciate the positive words, my friend. You know better than anyone about Horwood and what is available to you, and of course, all those who have been to Camp McIntosh, same thing. It is quite a ride, but needless to say, we'd love to have you a part of our community, enjoying some good fun, some good fishing, and some good food, because it's going to be nothing but great memories. And in the meantime, speaking of great memories, we got Big Jim coming up right after this. There he is, Big Jim McLaughlin. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Getting
Attaboy.
ready for show season. I got all my tags from last year that were hanging in the office here. I'm ready.
Attaboy. And I will say, you've been doing this for a number of years.
Too many years.
Well, I will say you wouldn't know that, Jim, because of how you conduct yourself. You think, honestly, it's like it's a new year for you. And one of the coolest things that I do appreciate sitting back and watching you is engage your audience, engage your followers, engage your fans. And, as I said, no one does it better. And
appreciate that.
I'm just still taking notes myself. But one thing you do like, of course, is groups and getting out and seeing those people that are the mover and the shakers. And of course, we saw you at the Ottawa show. Is there any chance that we might have Scott on next week to talk about the Ottawa show?
Yeah, I had a talk with him there. He's interested, so we'll get him on there in my share of the time there. And he'll just go over, there's some new stuff, and so it's they're sort of I don't know what you'd say, like they're sort of limited what they can do there with the space.
Right.
Like if they start trying to do big features and things, then you got somebody with a checkbook wanting to put 10 boats in that space, but you want to, then you want to pay a bunch of money out to watch a bunch of dogs come and jump in the pond. It's a vicious cycle. That's where Toronto Sportsman Show has that huge space that they have, and they can have just about anything go on there. Plus they have monster numbers of people come through the door, right?
Right.
And then, we've got Andy's show coming up, which is, if you're a fisherman, that's the one you have to go to, because it's really, it's not called the spring fishing. It should, I'm going to tell him this year, it should just be the spring fishing show, period. Boom. It's, I think he called, what is it? It's the Toronto Fishing Show. He calls it a lot too now, right?
It has changed, but it's, as far as I know, it's still the spring fishing and boat show, unless it has changed in recent years. But I know it's been referred to, but at the end of the day, whatever is referred to, we all know it is a gathering of the community. And
100%.
Love the fact that we're able to see stuff like that. This past weekend out in Saskatchewan, our CFNers got together again. I want to say it was on Posh Lake. I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but great to see the folks out on the hard waters of Saskatchewan, because right now, and I hate to use the word safe, but that's the strongest ice that I'm aware of in Canada, unless, of course, you're way up north. But down this way, there's not a lot of safe ice. And I know, Jim, you and I are going to talk a lot about that upcoming here. But awesome to see these CFNers out on the hard waters of Saskatchewan and gathering like you are. We can't thank you enough for wearing the colors.
It's changed. They see the way in the background. There's a table. They got stuff set up. They got chairs. They got like you always hear me joke about. It's not three guys in a wooden hut with a case of beer anymore.
Yeah.
You couldn't drill a hole because the ice was too thick, and the auger you borrowed from your uncle's garage that hadn't been used since 1728. Wouldn't cut a hole in the ice. It's really changed. It's a social event. That's just great to see.
Dude, I'm so glad you pointed that out, because that's exactly how I feel. And to Michelle, who joined us, if I'm not mistaken, there's some congratulations in order. You and Will Curtis, did I see something on a fishing rod that said, "Will you marry me?" I mean, not me. Maybe Jim. Maybe she was asking Jim. No, I'm kidding. But if I'm not mistaken, there's wedding bells.
She needs to get her eyes examined.
There's wedding bells in the near future. Yes, so I was right. Good for you. Well, congratulations to you and Will for your upcoming date that I'm sure that you are decided on, or perhaps it is already decided. But nice to see you folks tying the knot and making it official. We all knew you would, but it's always nice to see you guys make it.
That's okay. I've been talking. I'm excited actually, because I asked Tammy. I get a lot of requests online from people. They say, you're such a handsome man. Could you please friend me? And I love. What are you laughing at?
I'm just letting you go. I'm just letting.
So I get all these requests. So I asked Tammy. I said, can you cut me some slack. So, anyways, there's a young girl there. She offered to come visit me. She thinks I'm very, very handsome. Wants to spend a weekend with me. So I sent her the $1,000 for the plane ticket last week, and she should be here 2 weekends from now. So it's good. I'm ready.
That's awesome. Good for you, buddy. Make it. At least you got options. I love this person that has options. That's awesome.
Tammy offered me the $1,000 for a week. Oh my God,
Lord. Well, on that note, again, I hate to bring light to it because it is a very, very serious topic. But Jim and I have been talking, and I know Jason and his boys have been talking as well over on his side, and I'm sure others have been as well. Just to shed a little bit of light on this. I don't want to make it sound like we're trying to make it look funny, because it's not. But with some of the videos that we've been seeing lately, this almost is what as funny as this may seem, or outlandish as it may seem, some of the videos that are being shared on social media would suggest that this is the norm. And Jim, I know you want to talk about it. That is not the norm. And
So Tammy and I are sitting here last night, and all of a sudden you can hear something coming in the distance, and the noise was incredible. And it was the big search and rescue helicopter from Lake Ontario, flew directly over the house, like directly over, like the shit in the house was shaking. They flew right over the house here, went to Charleston Lake, and I guess they rescued one person. One person got rescued, and the rest of the bunch is missing. So that's just 20 minutes from here. There's a whole bunch of bodies floating around on the bottom of the lake that don't have to be there.
so
And the pictures that they showed, they've got the OPP command station there and everything, and they showed it on the Ottawa News tonight. And like, we're not talking about the ice broke and they went through. We're talking about an area probably of an acre that's just open water with little waves going over it that these people went into. And I don't know what they were doing. Apparently they weren't fishing, but it just goes to show it's not just this whatever's going on right now with us not having ice is it's claiming lives from all directions. It's claiming lives from all directions. So it's not good. There's so many people. When you see the firefighters in Simcoe asking people to stay off the ice because they're sick and tired of going out and getting them, like, I don't know.
And Jim, this is the thing. Like down in the States, I know it's at your own risk in some states when it comes to certain bodies of water. I know they were pleading with folks down along on that side of the pond to stay off the ice. There's no safe ice, and they were telling them that we're not coming to get you. If you end up getting in trouble, you're on your own. Yeah. I hate to see that happen here, especially when us taxpayers are paying for the benefit, but also we have to be reasonable. And when you take risks, at the end of the day, do we really want to invite others to do the same as what we've done? If in fact we've got ourselves in a bad spot, I'm going to say not. And we're anglers. We should be way more educated. Sure, you can't deal with those one-offs, and that's why they call them accidents. But when you do it enough times, eventually you're going to get bit. And as I said, lately it's kind of been sort of a shock and awe approach when you see some of the folks, dealing with ice flows and open water.
I see people showing pictures of them reeling up a big pike or something, and the ice is like 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. You can see the ice doing this. I never bought into that. I didn't think, like if I was looking for some action, I'd go to the bar and have a bunch of beers and hope the fight started by 11, so I still had time to go home. You know what I mean? It was like,
I hear you.
I can't figure it out why you'd want to, drown, freeze to death, holding on to the edge of the ice. And this same lake on Friday night, there was 2 young kids put a 4-wheeler through.
Yeah.
Now theirs went through ice.
Yeah.
And they went and posted the pictures and everything else of it. So now they're gonna have to foot the bill to get that out of there, because you can't leave them there.
No, 100%.
Full of oil and gas and stuff. But it's just like James McGregor there just said, it's absolute tragedy, But the thing is, though, it's a preventable thing.
And here's one way you can prevent it. If you're not familiar with the ice, and I'm sure I appreciate Mark posting this up because it is true. At the end of the day, if you're not sure, there's lots of guides out there that are on the hard water all the time, and they know a lot better than any of us.
You have to be there every day, and you have to be checking.
Yeah,
not just knowing that yesterday I drove to my huts and they were fine.
Yeah,
because it's really different. There was a buddy of mine I was talking to today, and he's on the Ottawa River up by just below Armprior. And he said to me, his buddy told him, he said, there's no problem. Like, there's still lots of ice out there. He said, it's still like 9 inches thick. And he says, what do you think? Well, what do you mean it's still 9 inches thick? And he said, well, last week it was almost 13 where we're fishing. It's 9 now. And they got to talking. He says, don't you realize that the ice didn't go away from the top because the snow's still there? You know what I mean? Because there's lots of snow up in some areas.
Mm-hmm.
It wore off the bottom because of all the places where water has melted and gone into the system, increases the flow, and it's wearing the ice away from the bottom. So they had gone, they had gone down 25% on the thickness, 25% on the thickness of the ice. And then he's telling them that the other spot that they had still had 6 inches. But on a big waterway with current, it can just change so quick.
And I will say this, and it's unfortunate that we've had some folks that have perished because of this. I will say that this weather that we're having or had this past weekend probably eliminated a lot of that iffy ice to the point where now it's not safe. But even if it is completely gone, I think that's better in my eyes, Jim, than for it to be there, still white, still people are unsure. At the end of the day, I like the fact that we might be pushing the reset button if, in fact, we still have a chance to have a winter here.
Well, it's showing minus 20 in Ottawa on that for about a week there, leading up to the show. Minus 16, 18, 20 at night, and staying below freezing in the daytime. But Scotty, this morning I had to run into Ottawa, just outside of Ottawa, and I drove over the Rideau River just below Manotick, or above Manotick. Well, I guess depending which way you look at it, whatever. But all the skidoos come out of this little creek. There's a golf club, and they all go in there to have a beer and a sandwich. And they come out of there and they go down the river or up the river. You see it come out of the creek, the lines, and the two lines are like this. They go opposite ways or continue or whatever. And I drove over this morning, and where they go underneath the bridge and head toward cars, it's black. It's open water. And, a few days ago, they were all skidooing there. And I guess because there's no snow on the surface, it melted really quick on that spot. Because it's right where the skidoo trail is. And I know the river there like the back of my hand. I've probably fished it 400, 500 days in my life. Mm-hmm. There is no current right where this is worn out. This is just, from a couple of days of warmer days. You got to, last week it was 10, 12, 13 degrees. Yeah. And a couple of nights here, I went out here one morning to the gym at 6:15 and it was 7 degrees. I had shorts on.
And did you notice, Jim, because the one thing that we haven't had a lot of, especially in the last 2 weeks, is sun. And when that sun comes out or it gets out from behind a cloud, unbelievable. So
it's funny you should mention that, because I noticed that coming back from the gym the other day. One of the days I went down in the morning and I was coming back up, and I walked out of the gym and went, what the hell? I looked, it was blue sky, like it had just changed, eh? And I'm driving home in the truck and the heat was still at the same temperature it was at 6:30 when I got to the gym. And just a couple hours later, I'm out there and I'm driving home, and I'm feeling hot in the truck, and I realized, it's because the heat was on. It was the sun hitting me. It was only the top part of my body that was hot. Like it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't have to happen. And it pisses me off. I get angry, like the hair on my neck goes on end, and I see these guys, I'm experienced. Well, there's a lot of experienced people died.
Yeah.
Like it's
there's a lot of great swimmers that have drowned. So
yeah. Hey, the vast majority of people who drown can't swim, eh?
But there is that odd story that you hear of someone with Olympic medals, or he swims this or she swims that.
The vast majority of people who drown can't swim.
Oh, they can't swim.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they can swim. Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
And it's true. I mean, you hear those stories of folks that have been swimming all their lives. But you know what? There's that.
If you can't swim, you don't put yourself in that situation.
Amen. Or anybody else for that matter. So
like what Mark Elbeck put up there about going to a like an outfitter or something.
Yeah.
That's the thing to do, because there's a good chance it's going to be safe. Yeah.
100%. Years of experience, and
you have to be with a person who this is what they do, and they could still have an accident. It happens.
100%.
But you have to be careful. Just get somebody that's reputable, and is it safe? The big thing, I guess, is if they have insurance, there's a good chance it's going to be safe.
Yes,
because they're people who care about their business and are, there was one guy I saw a while ago. I don't know where he was, if it was Simcoe or Nipissing or something, but he posted that he had chose to pull his nuts off the ice and would not be going any further. And then Bill Chambers from North Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to Bill on the way home from the gym this morning. He calls me, and I said, "What are you up to?" He says, "Oh, I'm just sitting down here by the waterfront in North Bay, watching them pull a truck out beside the pressure ridge."
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's nonstop. And while he was talking to me, he says, "Here goes a guy out in a 4-wheeler, pulling a great big giant Frable hut behind him." He says to me on the 4-wheeler, and he went out and he couldn't get over the pressure crack, so he came back in. So he was a smart one.
That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. So, with this possible reset, perhaps we might have a little bit of winter left. Again, we can't emphasize this enough, Jim. 4 inches is the minimum, and hopefully, with it rebuilding or remaking ice because of this colder temperature, we're going to get 4 inches of black ice. But if we don't, it's not the end of the world. It just means your spring season, your soft water season, is going to start that much earlier. So.
Hey, Pepe Perizzi in there, the Maple Leafs Stanley Cup bus driver, was telling me that the launch in Quinny on the weekend, he said it looked like there was a bass tournament.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. I said, "Are you serious?" He says, "I'm like 15th in line."
Oh, wow.
You know, so just goes to show, the guys can't go on the ice. All the smart ones got their boats out. He said they didn't last too long. It was only out there for about 3 or 4 hours, and the cold got through them.
Oh, I imagine. Can you
When
imagine?
you're sitting on the water, boy, and a little bit of breeze blowing, there's something about water. It's just colder than snow is. I don't know. It's weird.
It is so true, Craig. 100%. Too many people have to post on Facebook, and yeah, absolutely. We're seeing it a little bit more this year than other years, but yeah, I don't know what it is this year, especially that folks have seen a need to post this kind of stuff. But I think hopefully it's more to educate you folks that that's not where you want to go. So we'll leave it at that. But again, Jim and I can't emphasize enough that safe ice is nowhere. And as it is right now, I don't even know if there's good ice. That's
you hear about guys, they don't go fishing in the summertime because there's 4-foot waves. They stay home because they know it's dangerous being out in water like that. So it's the same thing. Why don't you just stay home or fish somewhere that the ice is safe.
Yeah.
So you don't get to go to the secret spot and you get there and there's 48 other guys there. Like, just find a spot where spud your way out, check the ice. Yeah, catfishing season. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of those things. You just got to pay attention to it. It doesn't. You don't have to be one of those people. And like I think there's been 6 or 7 with like around me within like a half an hour have died this year ice fishing. Or like these guys that they're looking for the bodies right now they were hiking, supposed to be orienteering, as the guy said. And they orienteered into open water. Like, I just feel terrible. And one guy got out, the others didn't.
Yeah, so I have to talk about this. George is hoping that no one enjoys the free fishing weekend this weekend as family. He's hoping everybody goes to the Toronto show instead. I'd like to say, George, you might get your wish, because the more we talk about the status of ice currently right now, the better chances I think your wish is going to come true.
Are you going to the show, George?
Yeah. So true. Yeah, speaking of that,
ice fishing, I know where the safe ice.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We just want to know that you're going to the show, so we know where to fish now. But he'll say Cooch or Nipissing for sure.
It was so funny the other day. They had their last weekend. They had our weekend before, whatever it was. They had the Frost Fest thing here, and the ice out behind my house here. I mean, it's like I said, it's been frozen since August. It's like this thick, and it's a little big. There's no flow. There's nothing. There's a guy there, and you could tell I think he was new to ice fishing, because everything he had looked shiny and new. He had a little flip over hut on the sleigh, the ones that you sit on, and he had all that. And he had the electric auger, the whole deal. He's got the spud, and he's spudding his way out off the docks. He spudded his way through the skating rink.
Oh no!
That they had cleared off.
No.
So there's a guy that we should have our hats off to.
Yeah.
But the little snowbanks, because there hasn't been much snow. He spotted right through, stopped on the snowbank, pulled it over, and he kept on. And he was pounding 2 or 3 times here and there, and he went out. Remember where I got bid off for 3 jigs before we get out of the bay out here, whatever it was?
It was right there.
The bugger went over and fished that spot, so we're gonna have to talk.
Wow.
I don't think he caught it. He sat there for like 6 hours because I was out here in the office and I went out, got a sandwich at lunch. I went in the living room, I look out, and that guy's still sitting there.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe he would have caught anything because there's probably like this much water at this time of the year under the ice.
Yeah.
But I was going to say,
obviously, you know, when we think about the effects of this, I mean, we've you know, families have been altered for forever. These are life-changing events. Folks who have lost folks that have gone through the ice.
It's really sad.
It is. It's sad. And we can dwell on that all night simply because I think it's a point that needs to be emphasized again and again. But in terms of this season, what we've seen so far, and of course with the minnow restrictions, or at least the restrictions on traveling with minnows out of this zone, out of that zone, this hard water season, Jim, have you ever seen it like this before, where we've had so little ice? And what effects does this have on the industry? Like the industry must really.
Oh, it's really hurting it, and the industry is already hurting from this great reset from COVID. You know, because like everything just, I mean, when it came to fish and stuff, that's why the stores were empty. It wasn't all to do with the supply chain and, you know, that kind of stuff. It was so many more people went fishing. And then when COVID was over, they sort of, you know, had freedom and they chose not to go fishing again. You know, they got back into doing what they used to do. But I know a couple of rather large dealers that are sitting on like, you know, six figures twice over in ice fish and stuff. And what people don't realize is not that you didn't sell it this year.
Yeah.
It means that in June and July, when they book their orders for the fall for their ice fish and stuff, they're not going to be ordering as much stuff because they go to their warehouse or wherever and they go and say, geez, I already got 15 of those. I ordered 18. So I don't need any more of those. I don't need any more of these. You know, I'm still sitting on 15 of these. Well, I usually keep 25, but I'll just get rid of the 15 because now it's going to be in their mind that maybe it happens again. You know, who knows? I'm sure next winter it's going to be minus 40. Everybody's going to be complaining it's too cold.
It's too cold. The ice is too thick.
Yeah,
and
no,
it's true. And you're right. And everything goes in cycles. We got it lucky this year because of an El Nino, La Nino, whatever the reason is. We didn't get the winter that we had hoped for. I think we got the winter that they predicted.
Yep.
I think
it's even warmer than they predicted.
So there you go. So it's not like it came out of nowhere. But it has been a bit of a pain for those who have not had a hard water season, and I feel your pain. But at the end of the day, it allows us, one, to focus on things that we can help now. Go to these shows. We can help, you know, the local tackle stores and producers and what have you by going to these stores and supporting in that way. So it's. You have to look at the positive of it. Yeah, it sucks for those hard water lovers, but at the end of the day, for the show seasons and those show promoters, this is not such a bad deal.
Yeah, just this winter. I mean, I know a few guys that have monster snow plowing contracts, and they're contracts that are paid up quarterly, and they have zero expenses. And then I know other guys who bill accordingly, and they've had to go find work in the winter because I know a couple of guys, they have not had their plows out this winter.
Can you imagine if you're someone that sits on a contract, you've just been raking it in with a big smile on your face. But for those who get paid by the plow, what a tough year it's been.
Yep. No, it's horrible. Now, you know, you go someplace, they were just saying on the news from Ottawa tonight at 6 there that it's I think it's about half the precipitation that they usually get is where they're sitting. But look at the week of the show. I sent you the weather there.
I know.
It shows like 25 or 30 centimeters over 4 days in the time of the Ottawa show. Now, I'm hoping that's one of those things where you look at it and then, you know, tomorrow you look at it, no, they've cut it back on one end and one day sunny instead of, and eventually but it's a Colorado low. So it looks, you know, it's going to come. Well, last year, remember we had the storm. What was it? The Thursday night?
Yeah. Exactly. And it was cold, man. I'm telling you, Ottawa put on its true colors that weekend.
I remember I looked out the hotel room window at the truck, and I thought, oh, it's not that bad because it was so windy. It snowed, what, about 4 or 5 inches?
Yeah.
And I start the truck through the hotel window. I see it start, yay, whatever. And I go down, and there's this much snow on one side of the truck, right down it from the wind, because it was a little bit wet before the temperatures plummeted. And it was the same. Dave Chong's truck was like that too. He said, I looked out the hotel room window. I started my truck, went down, and there's a foot of snow on the side of my car, not the top.
Yeah.
Because there was no snow on the top. It was not. It was just all hanging down the back. It was like this deep. It was priceless.
It was. Speaking of priceless, of course, Jay's talking about 4 years ago. I was drilling 32 inches of ice on Cooch with a 6-inch manual auger. I'm sure folks have got all kinds of situations like this where we've gone from one extreme to the other. George keeps talking about all the money he's going to save, but then spend when it comes to spring tackle. I would say that you're not alone there, George. I'm sure there's a
crankbaits, George. Crankbaits. They eat things that wiggle and move.
Absolutely.
I got the trophies to prove it.
That's awesome. Jim, before we let you go, anything else you wanted to mention before we bid you farewell for the week?
I don't know.
I tell you.
You want me to tell you? Remember what we just talked about?
Yeah.
My birthday was last weekend, well, just a little more than a week ago. For some reason, they talk about when you get older, the filter comes off. Mine was like, when they launch a missile off of a submarine and the door opens and the missile comes out? That was my filter disappear. So,
wow. Hang
on to your shorts if I make it this weekend. I'm actually smiling right now, and I'm in tremendous pain today. This spinal stenosis kicked my ass today, and I was telling Scotty earlier it was one of the worst days that I had. I went for a flip at the gym. Fortunately, I was alone at the gym. It was between classes, and I had a little verbal exchange with the gym itself. But it was not fun being me today. But hopefully it dissipates for a few days again, because I got I think it's 6 out of 8 weekends coming up here. And we go to Andy's show and then the spring fishing show, and I come home Sunday night, and Tuesday morning I go to Ottawa and then back down Wednesday and stay. And I have to go over to that what's that thing in Woodstock that's happening there?
This is the filter you're talking about? Yes. Whistle away.
Oh my God. I got to head over there. I got to go over on Saturday night. Now, you have booked me the presidential suite. No, sorry. It's the Emperor's suite.
The Emperor's suite. Well, we're waiting, actually. At the end of the day, I've got to actually go to a street corner, and I've got my cup ready for Jim's hotel room.
It's the hotel room is $119.95. The Emperor's suite is $129.95.
Unreal.
Oh God.
Right on, Jim. Well, listen, we'll be in touch. In the meantime, dude, stay safe. I know you put on a brave face, and we appreciate you coming here every Monday, even with everything that you're dealing with and you're going through. I love you, pal.
Still went to the gym today and kicked ass in the end.
That's it, buddy.
It's really funny, the way they talk about going to the gym. That happened. My little incident, my little meltdown happened. That's not me. It happened when I just got there, and I busted my ass for an hour and 15 minutes, and I walked out of there smiling. Oh, I shouldn't say walked out. I hobbled out, smiling though. So that's it's good for up here, baby.
Attaboy.
Sweet. Everybody be safe out there.
Right on, Jim. As always, thanks so much for your time. We will have Lawrence right after a word from this sponsor.
Hey, if anybody comes to the show on the weekend and I talk to you on Facebook and you know me, and you have some goofy name like Ivan 1642-7 Big Fish, tell me you're Ivan-1647 Big Fish so I know who you are. I can relate, okay? I always have guys come to me, or even ladies come to me after the show. They send me a message, say, "Oh, I talked at the show. It was so nice to meet you." And I have no idea who they are, because you didn't tell me. So I need to know.
Yeah, there is a very accurate public service announcement that should have been shared a long time ago. That's awesome, Jim. Good for you. We got Lawrence coming up right after this. Be good, dude.
When it comes to Canadian food, we've got your back with flavors like lemon pepper, beer batter, campfire barbecue, lemon pepper dill, garlic butter and chives, and crispy Cajun. We've got a mix for every meal. Whether you're serving East Coast shrimp, West Coast salmon, succulent walleye, chicken wings, or veggies, we've got you covered. Coat your food in outdoor flavors. Available online or at these fine retailers.
Lawrence Gunther in the house. How you doing, Lawrence?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Well, listen, we have a great crowd. Everybody's in a good mood, good spirits. Lots of funny stuff being shared in the comments. I hope you don't have a meltdown. And if you want to avoid our good buddy George having a meltdown, don't mention anything from Berkeley.
What?
All good. Lawrence,
No.
as always, it's a pleasure to have you here. If you have missed one of our podcasts that we've done on CFN or Bluefish Radio, please head over to Bluefish Radio and type in anything that you might be looking for. There's a whole bunch of topics, whole bunch of hosts, guests, stars, and some, I would say, public figures, and then some in that library of yours. But again, such a pleasure to have you here, as always, Lawrence. And I know you were involved in a workshop this past week when it comes to invasive species. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened at that workshop?
Yeah, the Invasive Species Center, they've contracted twice with Bluefish Canada to help with reaching out to the angling community to raise awareness of different invasive species, issues that we can help out with. So they asked me to present at their Invasive Species Forum that started today, and it's going to go for 4 days. There was 175 people online when I gave my presentation today, and it generated some really good comments. I actually got an email from a ministry official from Minnesota. He was telling me about their 95% compliance rate with their drain, clean, rules around launches and things like that with respect to your boats and trailers and so on. So they what we started in Ontario a couple of years ago, they started down in Minnesota quite a few years ago, and they're doing really well with it. So he got me interested. I gotta work with this guy and find out what they're doing, because maybe they've got some good ideas that we could share up here in Ontario.
Absolutely. And I will say this. So when it came to invites, 175 seems like a big number.
Yeah.
Were you expecting more? Because that seems like a half decent crowd.
It's a good crowd. They have a bunch of good presenters. They do a lot of marketing. It's an annual event. A lot of scientists, a lot of government officials, a lot of organizations, NGOs, things like that. People that are tracking involved with the invasive species. It's just a big issue, right? All over the place. So there's a lot of energy, a lot of resources, and I think it was Minnesota too. I could be wrong. It might have been Michigan, one of those two states. They were the ones that came up with that whole Kopi campaign for the Asian carp, trying to make them, get people to start eating them instead of just ignoring them. Catch them and eat them, and so. They're really far ahead of us in many ways with respect to invasive species advocacy and monitoring and awareness. We got some room to catch up on for sure.
We do, and I think a lot of it is just because maybe we're in the denial stage. It's not going to happen here, which of course is not the proper approach, because we have zebra mussels, we have gobies, and a whole bunch of others. A lot of folks are asking questions in the comments. Were there any highlights in regards to certain invasive species? I know we talked about gobies last week. We've also talked about zebra mussels. We've talked about goldfish. I mean, there's a lot of invasives that we've talked about just in the Great Lakes. Yeah. Were there any highlights that you can share with us?
Nothing that you wouldn't know. Grass carp is certainly the big one, right, in terms of Great Lakes and the number of appearances of grass carp. I don't think they've found any spawners yet, but the numbers are a little bit nerve-wracking. Numbers, when I last checked, there was 4 or 5 in Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. But like I said, no activity, actual spawning yet. But that can change overnight. And once it does, it's lights out for that, right? I mean, grass carp, they're the lawnmowers of the fish species.
And it's funny because Mark mentions Lake Erie and of course grass carp populations that are growing. is it at all part of the procedure policy or just means of gathering information to contact the commercial anglers? Because I'd be interested to see what some of their bycatches would include. And is it something that they share? Like grass carp is definitely something that we'd want to hear about.
I don't know if they're mandated to or not. I think the lake trout is one of the things they have to report on, but I'm not that up to speed on what the rules are in Canada versus the United States, as they would have different rules as well, right? So, and grass carp, I mean, I guess you can get them in the perch nets, but hard to say. I think I remember reading actually one was picked up in a net. Yeah, so yeah, I think when they take the time, they do it. But are they going to take the time, or are they just going to see it as an annoying waste of their time when they got money to make, right?
Agreed. Yeah, no, 100%. We have Ed who is asking about a species that we've had a lot of trouble with on the fish off when it comes to either allowing it, not allowing it. But tench, have they taken hold anywhere, or are they just a one-off species based on what they've been saying?
No, they're working their way up the St. Lawrence. There's some rivers on the American side, some channels, and where they're more numbers. So yeah, they're here. They're here to stay, I would say.
That's awesome. So Craig is a commercial angler. And he has said we are not mandated, but most are reported. So that's great. Craig, thanks so much for sharing that. Craig represents that part of the industry. And as I said, I know it may cast a lot of negative light, but it is a necessity, and it is as much a tradition as any other kind of angling. So Craig, we really appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your insight, but the fact that you've shared that information keeps us inspired to know that at least we're getting the facts. So that's good.
Man, Craig's a hero. It's a dying breed. The commercial fishing on the Great Lakes is just fading away. It's fading away, and people don't want the jobs. People don't want to do the hard work, the hours, the conditions, the money. So there are a lot of people who have the boats and the licenses are getting, temporary foreign workers, but they don't last. It's not to their liking when you come from a southern country to spend the time on the cold water. So it's a tough one. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely, it's unfortunate because we have such tremendous, commercial fishing potential, and it's not being utilized. People will give you different stories on that one. Is it fully being utilized? Is it underutilized? Is it overly exploited? But the scientists and the commercial fishers I talk to, they say it's not being utilized. And if anything, it's just the interest, amongst people to take that kind of work. Just the insurance, there's a family, they have 4 boats, and they can't even afford the insurance anymore. So they're running these boats with no insurance now. And it's tragic that we can't appreciate. Of course, all the fish are just gutted and flash frozen and sent to Asia. So we're not even buying the fish and supporting that fishery.
Well, there's a lot of things that we need to do better at, and that's just one of the many. But Bill has asked, what is a tench? And great question, Bill. Not familiar, or it's actually not, I don't even think it's available over in Saskatchewan, or at least past the Great Lakes area. But it is a freshwater member of the carp family. They inhabit lakes with weedy and muddy bottoms. Their diet consists of aquatic insect larvae and mollusks. Native range is most of Europe and parts of Western Asia, but of course, local concerns are that it has been found and documented in 38 states and various other bodies of water, mainly in and around the Great Lakes. Would that be accurate, Loris?
Little I know about it, you don't hear many reports on the Canadian side. You go down the St. Lawrence River and you talk to the researchers, and they'll tell you they're in the nets, right? And then you talk to the Americans, and they definitely are finding them on the American side of the Great Lakes. So, are they getting into our streams? Are we even looking for them? It's hard to say. I don't think we're actively looking for them, to tell you the truth. I think they're there, and everyone knows they're there, but what are you going to do about it, right?
No, 100%. And I think just to take a second, I know this might be a little bit of an offshoot But Rocky has just chimed in from Calgary tonight, and I think it's awesome that we have such a group of followers here that are really all over the place. We got Corey, who's out in Oregon, over on the west side, but we've got folks from Alberta. We've got lots of folks from Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and various other parts of our province, and as I said, across the border as well, that listen to this show. We really appreciate how you folks represent your bodies of water, what you do to promote your bodies of water. And, as I said, when Walter, myself, or Steve get the chance to do a photo edit of you catching a fish that came out of your body of water, it's a win-win for us too. So again, awesome to see all you folks here from various parts of the world, and we love having you. But if you have any information that you can provide us on invasive species, your body of water, or some of the topics that we're directly talking about, by all means, jump in.
Like the listenership of CFN, it just blows me away. I mean, you guys could just be out there watching YouTube videos of catching fish and how to catch fish and latest lures. And, we all do it, right?
Yep.
But to take your Monday night and listen to, the conversations we have on Monday night, which not a lot of it has to do with how to catch more and bigger fish. We're talking about all the things that go around fishing and that's happening. And that, I think that really shows a strong interest in making sure that it's going to be around, and what do you need to know to make sure it's going to be around in the future. I'm really proud of being part of this gang. So am I, Lawrence, and I appreciate you saying that, because it is true. At the end of the day, when it comes to the expertise, there is more expertise with the individuals that are watching this than are actually speaking right now, and we know that. We understand that. We have the luxury of having a big Jim here talking about things that perhaps we didn't know that he's seen many, many years ago, and speaks endlessly about all kinds of scenarios to either keep us, on the straight and narrow, or at least to guide us away from trouble. Jay, of course, he has that aspect, and what he brings to the show. Again, none of us. Our own doc, Dr. J.
We can't touch it. But what is equally as important, just as Lawrence mentioned, is you folks. You come here every Monday. You provide incredible content, incredible insight, and you share a link or two, as Steve does. You share the importance of wanting to know, because I think you're like us. You'd rather know and not know, and at least you can come here. If we don't have the answer, I know a few guys that might be able to find the answer. Lawrence.
Yeah. That's good. It's good, man. It's good.
100%. All right. Now, I know you've got news items, and
I got a few tips. Yeah, a few things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we talked about this scientific report I co-authored, and it was called Navigating the Tricky Waters of Fish Consumption Advisories, right, in the Upper St. Lawrence River. And I just wanted to, we didn't cover this, and I just wanted to end with this, just touch base on things that we can do to sort of resolve this, the inconsistencies of the fish consumption advisories being issued by the different jurisdictions for the same fish in the same water, right? New York, Quebec, Ontario. So if we shared the way we developed these fish consumption advisories, and we opened that up so people really understood what it was measuring, which fish were being caught in which areas, which fish weren't being caught, what were the chemicals they're measuring for, and which chemicals aren't they measuring for. And if that information was shared and made more public, I think we'd have a better understanding of the strengths and the weaknesses of these fish consumption advisories, and we could start to sort of talk more about, what would we want to see them look like more, because these are done by a very small handful of scientists. I've met them, and the ones I've met don't fish. So, and I don't know if they eat fish, but maybe they're not eating fish out of the Great Lakes, but I think they could use some input from the anglers, and not just what we like to catch, but what we like to eat, and how we like to prepare our fish, and which fish are we eating, which fish aren't we eating, what parts of those fish are we eating, and not just, the typical sort of bread it and throw it in a pan of oil, but other recipes too that are being used by different people from different cultures. I think that could be brought into this conversation as well. And it's not. These consumption advisories are all based on the fillet, dipped and battered and fried. And And if we did more outreach just with the angling community and all these groups, First Nations groups and different cultural groups, to learn those recipes, learn those preferences, I think we'd have a much better and much more reliable set of advisories that we could trust and believe in, because we'd have some say in, hey, that reflects my life, right? That's not just some scientist who's just doing a accounting exercise.
No, 100%, dude, and it's true. Like I think of a perfect example, like I can think off the top of my head, is Hamilton Harbor.
Yeah.
For folks who perhaps want to keep it a secret, don't get offended. All due respect, but there is a half decent walleye population in Hamilton Harbor. Although anybody who thinks of Hamilton Harbor, the last thing they think of is eating fish from Hamilton Harbor. So what would be nice is, because it is such a great fishery, and let's face it, everybody loves eating walleye. Outside of, everything in moderation, do we have a specific amount that we can eat based on size and all that? And the answer is yes. We just have to go and find it, correct?
Yeah, and you're going to make sure that what are they measuring? What kind of fish? What kind of parts of those fish? What kind of meals are they talking about when they're saying you can eat this kind of fish? So I think that's a lot of that stuff. Needs to be taught and educated. We need to be more open about that, because you're right. The walleye population. I mean, they put them in there as a joke, right? The walleye. They had some leftover walleye. I think it was Jason was telling us this a while ago, and they had some leftover from another hatchery process, and they just dumped them into Hamilton Harbor just because they didn't know what to do with them, and these things took off. They took off. So it's quite impressive. But it's also an area of concern. Hamilton Harbor was contaminated for years and years for heavy industry, and the plan is, and I don't know where they are with the plan, but is to put a big cement cap down there on to cover up much of the bottom of Hamilton Harbor, because they don't want to stir it up by extracting all the contaminated sediment at the bottom of the harbor. So they're just going to cap it with a cement cap. That's the plan, anyway.
And it's interesting, because I think that came back in an environmental assessment back in the 90s, as far back as the 90s, because I do remember that there was a group that had put forth a proposal to dredge it. Yeah. And when they did the EA study on what the dredging would result in, losing all of the Lake Ontario fishery was not part of the equation. So it was quickly not tabled as an option. But then I did hear about concrete caps, and I immediately thought, do you fix a problem by creating another one? Because concrete is toxic too, and I don't know how appropriate that is as a means of fixing a problem.
Yeah, they've used it on some of the tributaries on the St. Lawrence River on the American side, where they found extraordinary amounts of sediment, and they knew if they stirred it, it would just shoot into the St. Lawrence River. So they've elected to cap in that area. Cornwall, they're talking about doing it there. It's still up in the air. They're just saying don't go there, but you still see children in the summer and their families going swimming there and walking around in the muck and stirring it up. And you think, oh my God, you should have signs or something, right? But yeah, it's they're saying you put the concrete cap down, and it doesn't take long for it to get covered over with sediment, and for weed growth to start, and that whole cap just disappears at some point. It doesn't take long. There's always sediment accruing, so yeah, it's a process. Look, we've got 12 areas of concern in the Canadian side of the Great Lakes. I think there's 32 areas of concern. The plan is that Canada wants to deal with have addressed, have fixed, have mitigated all of our 12 areas of concern by the year 2030. That's the plan. It's an ambitious plan, but they announced the money to do it. They're taking grant applications from organizations and municipalities, other levels of government to make it happen, and plus things that go along with that. So, it's hopefully we'll get there, right? That'd be great. That'd be great. The Americans are making really good progress on their side, and as we deal with all the legacy of the heavy industry, we've got other things to worry about now, like all this PFAS chemical that we're learning more and more about.
Yeah,
but that's getting pretty heavy, buddy. Let's move on.
It is, but I want to talk about some of the comments that are being made. As I said, some great insight here. Jay is talking about when it comes to the advisories are based on quantities of mercury, heavy metals that exist in a fish population. The recommendation for consumption is based on the amount of fish that will result in potentially harmful bioaccumulation in humans. 100% Jay, and I'm sure if Jay Barnews was here, he'd give you a check mark because that is bang on. And the other thing that I just realized with George is how interactive our eating and sport fish guide is when it comes to maps, identifying and preparing certain types of fish, the safe way, if you will. But for more than 2,600 fishing locations in Ontario, the eating sport fish and fish guide is available. It's interactive, and I'm sure if George could, he would share the link. But I'm sure you can Google it and find it. But yeah, lots of doom and gloom. But I'm interested to find out because it's been made. A point has been made by Jay Pierce. I don't eat fish that wasn't swimming in the last 24 to 48 hours. Ed McKenzie, right away, he would prefer not to eat anything farmed as opposed to wild fish. He prefer wild fish. I think there's a lot of us that are in the same boat. But what are your stipulations? And I'm saying this generally to all of the masses as well as you, Lawrence. What are your stipulations to eating fish?
Well, I worked with a really well researched expert in food, and he said to me about chicken. He said I wouldn't eat any chicken that I didn't see walking around pecking the ground, and because he really doesn't trust the industrial raised chicken, and because of the salmonella levels and such. But I think you need to know where your food comes from, right? And really that's what it comes down to. Like, that was his point. I want to know where my food comes from. And if you know where your food comes from, and if we know where these areas of concern are, and we know where the rivers are and what's in those rivers and what they're flowing through, and are they downstream from a city that's constantly dumping raw sewage into those rivers, we should know these things. We should be aware of these things. It was 20 years ago, no one talked about raw sewage dumps into the lakes and the rivers. It was just a secret, right? No one ever reported it. No one ever talked about it. And it wasn't until, one worker forgot to close the valve on one of the dump valves here on the Ottawa River and went on holidays for 2 weeks and came back and said, and 2 billion gallons of raw sewage went into the Ottawa River over that period of 2 weeks in the middle of the summer, just upstream from a popular beach. And then they reported it, and the guy lost his job. Just the low-level guy lost his job, not his bosses. And people started talking about that, right? And then look, we got a $250 million containment system now on the Ottawa side to hold back. But it's been a shit show in Toronto this winter with all the rain and the melt all winter long. It's been dumping raw sewage left, right, and center into the Lake Ontario this winter. And Ottawa too, we've had our spills because can't hold everything back. And,
well, let's keep increasing that population.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to get off topic, so I'd rather not. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're busted at the seams when it comes to capacity on dealing with sludge water and brown water, as they say. But is it a resolve that every time we have a rain event that we can't process enough of it in one given time that we're just going to offload it?
Look at the rains we're having, right? They're more intense, they're heavier, they're longer. There's more of it coming down when it does happen. And the systems we're putting in place, they're getting overwhelmed again because the nature of the rains are changing. So we just got to figure out better ways and keep pushing ahead, and we'll get there. But we got to do it. We got to do it.
We have to. And the one thing that I will say is when it comes to eating fish from our Great Lakes, it's all moderation. I hate to say it, but when it comes to salmon, and Rocky had made a point, and I think it's awesome that folks can share some of what they've learned. This is I'm sure a mistake that a lot of folks had made in the very beginning. A fish I will never eat again is late September salmon. Halfway up Roddy Creek, didn't know any better back then, but it was a mistake, and I can imagine that it was a horrific tasting fish. Thanks, Rocky. Thanks so much for sharing that, because at the end of the day, folks might not know exactly what we're talking about. Some of the smaller trout, some of the smaller salmon, if they're in season and you like the taste of fish, you like eating fish, the smaller the better. Obviously, keeping within or outside of the slot limits as pertained by the rules and regulations. But as long as you're eating the smaller fish, you're not getting that bioaccumulation to the extent of if you mow down on a full-size salmon or a full-size walleye that's out of the Great Lakes.
But look at those salmon; they're only there for 5 years, right? 6 years.
Absolutely.
So they power through a lot of grub, high protein grub, and get really big really fast.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are in terms of the advisories for eating salmon, but when I was a kid, I used to catch them and bring them home. My mom would cook them. We'd eat them, and no problem. But what did we know back then, right? In terms of contamination, taste-wise, they seem fine. But I was catching them in the credit, and it was. But I think we just have to. It's just a matter of your preferences and knowing what to eat and where to eat it. And there's lots of opportunities. And your idea about everything in reasonable measure. You think about fish; it's so good for you. Mm-hmm. And if you eat too much, like you said, and you start to bioaccumulate problematic things, then it's a problem. But if you eat just enough that that's not going to hurt you. I mean, we're drinking the water out of there, right? So no one's saying don't drink the water. So and even the First Nations communities along the St. Lawrence River are saying to their people, look, you can eat some of these fish, right? You can safely eat certain amounts of this fish. It's not going to kill you. In fact, it'll make you healthier because you're going to eat really good food that's healthy for you in most regards. You're absolutely right. We need that information. We need that information to get, because there's fear mongering, and there's just and you see it at the boat launch. Some people say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. You just eat, whatever," and then other people say, "Oh, I never eat it." And so you get the whole range of attitudes and ideas, and it's just a lack of information. I think we need to have that balance and just get those fish consumption advisories better known, better communicated, better understood, and then it's like life. We know beer will make you not great for you, but if you don't drink too much of it, you're going to be okay.
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, dude. And that's what it is. That's what life's all about. Yeah. I know you've got a couple other bullet points you want to get to, so have at her, my friend.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So the redfish, did you know there? You hear about redfish down in the States in Louisiana. Yeah. But there's a whole giant population of redfish in the Gulf of St. Lawrence that have come back. They were over harvested 30 years ago, but they are back, my friend. And the Canadian government, Department of Fisheries and Oceans, just allocated the quota for the big redfish fishing commercial fishery that's going to start this year. I think 32% went to Quebec, 32% went to New Brunswick, Nova Scotia got a chunk. Poor Newfoundland only got 12 or so percent. They're not happy because they were, people were already gearing up for it, investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into nets and things like that. And then when you're only going to get, 12%, that's like what, 2 or 3 trips, and then you're done for the year kind of thing. So they're not happy. Redfish.
Drum. We have a population of red drum.
Is that what they are? Red drum? Yeah, they were in the article I was reading. They call them redfish.
Redfish, red drum. I've heard black drum. I've heard them call a million different things.
Yeah.
That it different. Yeah, George. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe I don't know, but that George is saying different redfish species.
Yeah, it's not the ones in the Louisiana. It's not those 20, 30-pound giants they get down there. These things get maybe like 12 to 18 inches, 4 pounds, 3 or 4 pounds. But you catch a net full of them. They're fast-growing fish and yummy, good for you. Wild caught, organic.
Well, delicious down there. I can't imagine what they are in the St. Lawrence, especially with all this raw sewage that we're dumping. I'm just kidding. That's interesting. Interesting that we have a growing population of redfish. I'd like to know a little bit more about that in terms of the species and what to expect in the future when it comes to sizes and availability and what it's going to look like from a recreational standpoint. But hey, listen, adding to the fishery, it's not always a bad thing. It's sometimes a good thing. So
if we do it right, if we do it right, this could be one that hangs around for a while, right? Just a matter of doing it right. And we know how to do it right now, and we know how to follow the science. And as long as the science rules and the politicians don't on these sorts of things, it can be done right. So it'll be good.
I seen a python in the Credit River last week that Sonia shared. And now we've got redfish that are running the St. Lawrence. Like, what are you going to tell us next? We've got narwhal running up the Ohio River. What's next?
No, but this is interesting. Like, here's a weird statistic. So we all know about greenhouse gases. We know ships burn bunker fuel, and it's just the bottom of the barrel, literally the bottom of the oil barrel, the crud, and that's what they burn in ship engines, large ship engines. And these big offshore trawlers are burning that crud. Well, it turns out that dragging nets on the bottom of the ocean, these big trawlers stir up more CO2 from that's in the sediment that's released and then released into the water and into the atmosphere that makes its way back into the system, back into the atmosphere. It's double the amount of CO2 gases, greenhouse gases, are being emitted by the trawlers dragging their nets on the bottom of the ocean compared to what they burn, what the commercial fishery fleet burns and emits from their smokestacks. Double the amount just from dragging those nets on the line. So more reason for these giant bottom wrecking machines to get the hell out of here,
Wow.
Yeah, double the amount. 375 million tons of CO2 being released every year by these, just the trawling action from the bottom.
That's interesting. And I know it's in the news lately, all the trawling and the concerns of it and what have you. But that's really interesting. I didn't realize there would be a CO attachment to it as well. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, I've been reading about it. A lot of everything that dies in the ocean just settles to the bottom, and like white snow, it's all sort of carbon, the leftover carbon of the animals and such. Mm-hmm. And if it can just sit in the bottom, it's captured, right? If it just sits on the bottom, gets covered over, it's captured down there. It's not bothering anybody.
Yeah.
So when it gets back into the system and makes it back up and out, then that's problematic.
100%. We got time for one more, Lawrence.
Okay. All right. Hang on. Oh,
Richard Dunlop. The carbon tax will fix that.
So yes, the Skeena watershed is looking at 100 years of salmon data, and they say the salmon and other fish species in the Skeena watershed, northern and western British Columbia, are adapting well to the changing circumstances. This changing in the atmosphere, the changing in the water, and so on. They're not but they're adapting much more rapidly than we thought they would, and that's the whole plasticity. Like, we always think of evolution as that, it's Charles Darwin's interpretation that if you have this thing, you'll die away, and if you have this thing, you won't. So therefore, the ones that don't die away breed and make more of them. But that's not the whole. That's not the whole picture. We have a thing in our DNA called plasticity. You can take the same fish and put it in two different environments, and it'll, within one generation, it changes. It metamorphizes to adapt to this new situation. And because the DNA has the potential already within its genes to make these adaptations, right? It's like, us, right? If we hang around in Caribbean countries, we will become adapted to warm, hot weather, just like people down there. But if we go down there as Canadians, we find it very, very hot, right? Because we're not suited for it, but we're the same people. More or less, we're the same people. It's just, and if we hung around down there, within a few years, we'd be fine, right? So the animals and the fish, they have this plasticity. They call it plasticity, that they can change. They have the DNA in them already. They just have to, it's like, change your clothes from your winter clothes to your summer clothes or whatever, whatever they're doing to their DNA, to their makeup, they can make those changes in their life, and then that gets passed on and eventually gets hard coded, and it eventually becomes that whole evolutionary thing that Charles Darwin talked about, where it gets locked in. But it's more the plasticity than the evolution that allows these fish to respond so rapidly to these changes, like we're noticing now in the Skeena watershed.
It's interesting too. I know we talked about it. I know I touched on it. There was a big study that was done down on the south end of South Africa, right off the point there, where a lot of great whites have typically hung out because of the sea lion population. They've been finding that there's been pods of orcas, especially those two that have been running amok and killing all the great whites. So they sent research teams down there, and they figured, well, we haven't seen any great whites, so they started searching for them in deeper, colder water, because that's typically where you would find great whites. So instead of going left, they should have gone right, because they ended up going further east into more shallow water.
Huh.
They did an about face and a 180 that not a lot of marine biologists would have thought that they would have done, basically because they prefer that colder water, but they'd actually gone into warmer water. Yes, there was a food base there for them when it came to the seals. Wasn't as plentiful as it was typically, but the fact that they adapted for the sake of protecting themselves as well as providing them another source of food. As I said, fish are a phenomenal species, and we know about as much about them as we do about ourselves. So it means
there's killer whales, man. There's some that just eat salmon, and some that just eat sharks, and some that just eat seals, and and they're all killer whales. They just have decided that this is what they're going to do, right? But
100%.
not genetically, they're not really different.
No, true enough.
Yeah.
Right on, my friend. Well, listen, thanks so much for your time. We look forward to seeing you each and every Monday, and of course, with show season coming up,
Yeah, man.
chance to see you sooner than later.
For sure, buddy. Looking forward to it.
Listen, something that you would appreciate that I want to share, just in case folks are heading down to the Spring Fishing and Boat Show. Gord, I tell you, he comes up with some fantastic stuff, and Gord Pizer mentions this at verbatim when it comes to quotas. So as we prepare for talking to Andy and Moose, and we say goodbye to Lawrence, have a listen to Dr. Pizer.
And nobody understands, or very, very few people, and you guys have heard this all the time. The ministry, Saskatchewan government, allows me to have 4 walleye, so there can't be a problem. That's not what a limit is. A limit is if you don't know when to stop, we'll tell you when the maximum level of greed is. And it's 4 fish. It's not a target. It can't be a target.
No, it can't. But you know who is a target right now? Our good
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Andy Pallotta. How you doing,
What's
Andy?
happening? We're having a good time. You'll see it all later on. It's pretty out of control.
So for those of you that don't know, Andy's sweating right now. His daughter just left.
No, to get checked, not for anything else. Okay. So no, she's not having a baby.
Well, she's having it soon.
Yeah, no, but not now. No, not now. You know what, Moose? Victoria's gonna kill you. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, she might. Well, she's on her way somewhere to have something looked at.
Just check. We all did that. I did it when I had her.
Within 48 hours, another Pallotta will enter this world.
We're thinking. We don't know.
That's
You're incredible. You are incredible.
I can't keep my mouth shut.
She is gonna freaking kill you.
She might.
No, she's gonna kill you, man. Guaranteed, she's gonna kill you. Yeah, it wasn't.
Scotty,
Andy,
how excited are you?
Grandchild? Is this your first grandchild?
Dude, number one. I'm telling you, I'm pretty excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's been really restless nights here, man. What's that?
In your 40s. It's amazing that you're.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm 39 actually. So. No.
Well, lads,
You know what,
are you able to share with us what you were having fun with behind the scenes?
I don't know if we can right now. We could get in trouble after. So, but
I'm gonna get into a lot of trouble.
yeah, but the thing is I don't know how to say it, but it's really changed my life just knowing it's coming. I'm really excited for the baby. We don't know whether it's a boy or girl, so that's been a big part of the fun. And we're just looking forward to a healthy baby. That's all.
Look at all the congratulations, Andy. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
I don't know what to say. I
think the stressful part of it all is it's just before, like it's days before the show, and maybe after the show the baby will come, maybe during the show
I'm okay with it. I'm okay, Moose. Honestly, I'm okay with it.
Listen, we all know, we've all run events. I've run events.
Yeah.
You've run hundreds of events.
I'm okay
Scotty,
with it.
you're now in the event world as well. It's a lot of work, and we've said this time and time again. The amount of work that Victoria puts in, that
Yeah,
Vita puts in, that
it's
Nicole
incredible.
puts in, that you put in is unbelievable. But now you're one man down. You're one Pallotta down.
No.
You're the main Pallotta down.
We have one Pallotta recruiting another one. You like that one? I got you, dude. I think you guys are in trouble because I'm kind of getting old and a little bit tired and a little quieter. I think this little kid's gonna come out screaming. Back of the line!
Now, Moose, are you with me? Did Victoria do this by design? Was she hoping to get one show off?
Right? That's what I'm thinking. You know what? Let's plan it this way so I can get one show where I don't have to do anything. No, are you kidding me, man? She's been, I saw her a couple hours ago, an hour ago. She's out to here and looking great, and yet she's still sending out emails and
Moose took a
setting up
picture with her. Moose
graphics.
is just as big. Show 'em
Yeah,
how big
I'll post.
That's how big Victoria is.
So we took a
We all need to go see that person.
I got twins happening, dude,
Right.
so I don't count.
But no, she was down to the final hour. She was just sending out Instagram posts and stuff like that. So she looks good. She feels great.
Yeah.
But about looking good and feeling great, I'm feeling great about this weekend. I know Scotty's excited.
Yep.
As far as everything that we do, Scotty, we're going to do it to the best of our ability. I could come on here and I could talk about tech and gear, but tonight it's going to be the spring fishing and boat show. Reason being is everything is there, all under one roof. So, Scotty, your first memory of the spring fishing and boat show, go.
This goes back a long time. This is back in the Bass Mania days when Andy put the show on for the very first time. And I think it had 3 buildings, if I'm not mistaken. It was massive.
Oh, no, it was 3.
Three rooms?
Yeah, it was 3 rooms. It was the ice fishing room, and we also had a hunting room. So we had 3 rooms.
It was, and for someone like myself who had been to the Sportsman Show for a number of years, went with my grandfather, with my father, I love the fact that we were having another show. I love that. And it included boats, it included fishing. It just seemed at that time, there was such a shock and awe about the new show on the block. It wasn't the same old, it was the new. And I'll tell you, the fact that it has been around for as long as I can remember, Andy, that is a true testament to you, Victoria, and the entire Pallotta family, and all those who support you. Because without that team, you wouldn't be in year, what is it now?
This is 19, but the show existed even prior to us taking over. It used to be owned by Rogers, so it's been around for almost 40 years, 35 years, I believe. And we once it got sold and bought out and closed down, we reopened it the same year. So it was, dude, I'm going to tell you, I just want to make a quick comment because you said something about the 3 halls and everything else, because it was a lot. It was a lot for us to try to maintain that, and I had to revamp it right after that year. And most important thing is revamped it as an angler and said, we got to get rid of the crap. We got to get rid of the double aisles. We got to get rid of we want people to come in and feel like they're at a fishing show, right? And that's been one of our biggest challenges to maintain that, because at the end of the day, we envision what we want to envision. We try to bring in everything possible. But it is a challenge. It's a challenge even for the manufacturers because they have a lot on their plates too. So we respect everybody's position. So the thing was, and it is even when we reduced the show back in the day to 2 halls and 1 hall, it wasn't because the show actually shrank. It was just we kind of got rid of the stuff we felt wasn't really for anglers, right? And that was the most important part, because ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that everybody wanted to be in one room. Everybody wanted to do all that stuff, and it allowed us to do that. And the thing is, even to today, it's been my motto to present a show that is really not it is really focused on fishing. If that makes any sense, right? And it's always been that, dude. We've always been doing that. So
this year's show, Sorry, go ahead, Scotty.
Yeah, and then on top of that is, I think of communities like CFN. I think of communities like OFC and OC Nation, GCFA, OWA. Our communities wouldn't have had the reach that we have now if it wasn't for shows and pioneers like yourselves. So,
I think that goes that's like for any small bait manufacturer that was up and coming, or group, or clothing line, or anyone that's I think Geiger Tech. You look at Geiger Tech Marine.
Look at them now; they're huge.
You look at Geiger Tech Mounts and Geiger Tech Marine and where they came from and where they started. It's nice to know that there is a platform out there to help others grow. And whether some people may have outgrew the show or still continue to do the show because it's just their happy medium, or that's their big show because that's where they make the most amount of money. Or let's face it, a lot of it is for us to get together, talk fishing, and see what's new in Canada, because there is a handful of stores and locations that you can go to find new and good product. But there's not a lot of places where you can go and gather and have everything under one roof. You've got your smaller shows and tackle swaps and some other, events that might happen throughout the year. But then you got the big show where, you have the boat show that does all boats all the time. And I always question why the boat show never had a fishing section, because we get a lot of people asking. But again, it's a boat show. It's not a fishing show. And then that's where you guide them into the spring fishing and boat show, because it's all fishing. So I think it's cool time of year. It's a perfect size venue. But it's going to be an exciting year because it's a lot bigger this year.
We I just want to add to what I was saying earlier, is like one of for us, and what's important to me is that we don't want guys saying, hey, we're paying $15 to walk into the door, or we're whatever, because it's never been about me selling you that for the cost of opportunity to sell tackle. Because if you're going in to buy tackle, there's a lot of stores that can offer you the opportunity to buy. But with the spring fishing and boat show, and what I've always maintained, is the entertainment factor, the knowledge factor, all that part, that I really believe that value is like, for I believe this year it's $18. It's priceless.
It's priceless. I mean, there's over 20 speakers.
21 speakers we got coming this year. From closed room seminars, we have a master trolling seminar early Saturday morning. That starts at 8:00. And
we go through the list quickly.
Yeah. So
as far as speakers go, you got Ashley Ray, Big Jim McLaughlin, Bob Izumi.
All in alphabetical order, just by the way.
Okay, here.
No, you go ahead. Do it.
Guys from the U.S., guys from across Northern Ontario, guys from Southern Ontario. Keep going.
All right, so our speakers, Ashley Ray, Big Jim, Bob Izumi, Bowen Sander Cox, Brian Latimer for all you bass guys, Jamie Bruce, bass guys, Chef Benny. We gotta love Chef Benny. He's always teaching us how to eat better.
He's not much of a fisherman, but he's a good cook.
He can't catch fish. But I fish with him. He's a good cook, man.
Dave Mercer's gonna be there.
Yeah, that was a real good thing. Like to see Dave. He's in town. He does his events not till next week. David Chong's there.
Gord Pizer.
Yeah. Gord Pizer. There you go.
Yeah, James Linder.
Yeah, James Linder. So for people don't know, he's part of the Linder family. Al Linder, James Linder, they're all there. They're all part of the group. Jeremy Smith, again, part of the Linder group. Jim Sarek, Muskie Hunter magazine. And then we got Joey D and Joey T. They're going to be on the upper.
If you guys don't know who Joey D and Joey T are, you will for sure get to know these guys. They're the CSFL Classic champions, and they are two fine young gentlemen. They are balls of knowledge. Yeah. And they're just, I don't know if you ever had a chance to speak with Joey T or Joey D, Scotty, but
very intense.
They're
intense.
They're intense about the sport. They love it. They love it. But yeah, two characters that could sit there for hours and talk fishing.
Whether it's hard water or soft water, they're there.
Well, Joey T was the one who went through the ice not too long ago, and he'll tell you that story.
Should we be saying that?
Well, yeah, he put it out. It's public. He's always said, stay on your path, don't lose and he went off his path, and Went off his sled and
He wasn't far off.
went out for a float.
from what
Okay,
I-
sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna JP to Rose.
Of course.
So, you know what? That guy there
The
is a
professor.
book. He is a professor. He's the book of
The
knowledge.
professor.
Doesn't matter when you talk, you can ask him any question. Just like Mr. Pizer, he'll have an answer for you. And then we got up and comer. You know,
Yeah.
a part of the Pizer team is
Liam.
grandson Liam Wetter, and I'll tell you, if you had, we've had him at the ice fishing show.
Yeah.
We had him actually last year at the spring show. Did very well. Looking forward to hearing what he's got to say. Mike Miller, Angler and Hunter TV, and August will be there with him as well too on the weekend.
Mhm.
Nick Kuzlis, one of the top guides from Lake Ontario, Georgia. Like I want to say, big water.
Yeah.
I would say I'd rate him one of the top guides out there.
He's a big fish guy.
Paul Castellano, another great guide to the Niagara region. He'll be also one of our speakers. We got our own Paul Palace coming up.
Captain Paul.
Called Captain Paul. So he's actually got a few roles this weekend because I don't know if you ever had a chance to go out on his boat and charter him for a weekend. He's down in Oreo, Ontario. Did I say that right? He's gonna probably
I don't think you said it right.
I probably didn't. But anyways, it's not that far, and everybody that we sold to go has had a great time and keep going back. And he'll be doing Beat the Clock as well.
Yeah, the raffle
So-
will beat the clock
Yeah,
challenge.
so that'll be filleting fish, and you have a chance of winning a $400 fillet knife as well.
So
So
no, it's not okay. 164.99 MSRP.
okay, so you got it right there.
I got it right here.
So I'm thinking last year's.
So you'll receive a lithium
came down.
R12 Icon cordless fillet knife. So the R12, the
that came down a lot. That was like 300.
this is MSRP though.
I know, but
So
MSRP is usually
sometimes they're just more. That's
come down.
manufactured.
Oh, that came down a lot. So
Suggested.
it's still $150. So all you got are 100.
That's US.
Oh, it's US. So
Yeah.
so you're over $200. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Anyway, it's a nice, beautiful R12 electric, lithium electric.
And then we
Nice.
got door crashers. So
The door crashers are
door crashers are awesome. So we got Berkeley Power Bait Friday. So we're giving away power baits at the door.
Yeah.
I think it's for 50 or 100 people. I'm not sure what it is. We have Berkeley Power Bait Max Scent Saturday, and then we got the all new Rapala Cross City Sunday. So we got plastics we're giving away all 3 days, which will be a lot of good things.
Yeah.
We also, what else are we giving away?
Well, we got to
We got the
draw.
Mercury.
We got to draw for 99.
Yeah, so a Mercury 99 tiller. So our friends at Mercury were kind enough to donate a Mercury 99 horsepower motor. And it will be, I have to show you, we'll take it home Sunday night. And all you have to do is purchase anything in the show. So when you are, if you're at Brian's or Jasper's, or if you're at Fishing Tackle, Bait,
OFC Nation.
OFC, anywhere you go.
Anywhere you buy
Anywhere
anything at
you
the show,
buy,
you'll receive a ballot.
You receive the ballot, and there'll be a ballot box set up next to the CSFL booth. Just make sure you place it in there,
Yeah.
and it'll be drawn on Sunday. So you just want to make sure anytime, don't be rushing there just to put the ballot in.
Speaking of Sunday,
Oh yeah,
so
Sunday.
as far as draws and giveaways go,
Is there any more?
Sunday's Sonar Sunday.
Yeah, and that's huge. So if you were at the ice fishing show this year, all right. So at the ice fishing show, we call it Sonar Sunday. There, and we give away a sonar every hour. So it was a hummingbird. I think it was a Helix 5 or 7. I'm not sure what it was. 7. So I don't know what they're giving us for this, but every hour. So you definitely want to be putting those ballots in on Sunday because those ballots will also be used for the hourly sonar. So what's going on?
MSRP $8.29 per unit.
Yeah,
Which
so
makes me think there's
that's
multiple
Canadian.
units.
That's Canadian.
That's American.
No, that's Canadian.
That's American.
Canadian.
What if it was a 12-inch?
It's not going to be a 12.
What if it's a 10-inch?
No, it's Canadian. Don't listen to this guy.
Either way.
Either way.
Either
It's
way.
still worth
There's
it.
going to be multiple
And
units to be given away on
every
Sonar
hour,
Sunday.
Every single hour will be given, and that's going to be a new thing with the show. I think that we established that at the ice fishing show, and it went over very, very well, and people now are expecting it. And I think that moving forward, that Sunday will always be a Sonar Sunday at the spring fishing show, or we'll be announcing the new location for
Sonar
the
Sunday.
ice fishing show for 2024. So we got a lot of announcements.
You know what
that
we
are
should
happening
do?
there.
I know your show doesn't go on Thursday, but we should do like a Thirsty Thursday
and just kind of walk
and
the
give
show.
a drink away every Thursday.
Really?
Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by.
I think we should.
Now that's the perfect plug
No.
to announce the new sponsor.
Okay, the sponsor of the show. The sponsor of the show is Bush Beer. So they're sponsoring
The beer of fishing, baby.
excited about it. So
Isn't that cool?
yeah, it's that's all Victoria. She put that all together, and just so you know, There's going to be stuff happening also with the CSFL, our tournaments, which will also involve Bush beer. And our goal is to hopefully get to 100% payback within the next 24 months. So we're on our way there. We're on a good run. We are going to be updating a lot of our fish care as well this year. So that's part of the agreement. We're just trying to figure out how much further we can go and what the costs are going to be to get all the fish care up to where it needs to be. So bravo. Anyways,
My hats
we
off
want to
to you.
thank the folks at thank Victoria. We want to thank the people at Bush Beer, because that'll also help us weigh in times, a lot of stuff, which will really help us get better and stronger.
We could talk more about that at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
Right now, let's
yeah.
talk to Scotty about the show.
Yeah.
Scotty.
Dude,
Like-
at the end of the day, I was just going to type in, my screen is frozen. Will they even notice I'm not here?
I'm sorry, man.
We're gonna go through all of this again.
We're going through all this again, dude.
You and Andy should have your own show. And folks are asking, wherever it is that you're doing this production that got Andy all sweaty and you all excited, where can we tune in to see this?
So we're going live right after this, actually, on the Spring Fishing and Boat Show
Site.
Facebook page.
Yep.
So we're gonna go into great detail about the show.
Yeah. Well, greater. We're not going to go too crazy.
Well, listen,
You're saying
I don't know, man.
He doesn't
You
believe
tend to ramble on about everything. At
Here
the
we
end of
go.
this, we're gonna know like exact details and measurements
Yeah,
of
yeah.
like the live release boat
Did we talk about this?
stages.
Yeah.
Well, now that you've mentioned, see this.
we
This is the leading. You announced the sponsor. Now you could talk about the Bush main stage. Because
Okay.
if you just said Bush main stage,
Yeah.
then we're like, what does he have?
No.
Strippers at the show?
You wish. Okay, so just some
Sorry,
features
Scotty.
At the show. Features at the show. Scotty, you okay, dude? We're
I'm
good.
It's just, it's
He's
just
trying to get me to build polls somewhere. I'm not going to happen. So, anyways, we got so the kids event. So we got for kids. We got the fishing hole in the back corner. So that's going to be cool. So kids always fish for free. Have a lot of fun there.
It's a good thing they didn't call it the Bush fishing hole. Right?
That's terrible, dude.
I'm just saying,
All right.
Bush main stage, Bush fishing
Okay,
hole.
so we're not. It's a beer. You can't put that word.
The
kids.
beer of
All right,
summer.
so there we go. We got the fishing hole. We got okay. So our friends at the CBAF they're actually doing the kids casting lanes for us. They're doing it under their umbrella. It's all them, and giving awareness back to their group and the stuff that these clubs do, as well as the OBN will be doing bait and rigging. Also, and that's actually sponsored by American Bait Works. So they'll be at American Bait Work will be also at the show. So it's kind of cool. And then we always have to thank our friends at Isaac Walton, because there's a lot of patience that goes with fly fishing, and they actually take the kids and teach them how to tie flies, right? Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really
So
cool.
that's, we have an activity, we have lots of activities for kids, as well as lots of learning as far as the stages go. So the Bush main stage, where you're going to see, Dave Mercer, Bob Izumi, you're going to see them all there.
So this year there's three stages.
Presenting areas.
Presenting areas.
Actually 4 if you include the closed room area.
Actually, 4. So closed room areas.
Okay.
So those are early in the morning. So if you guys are coming early in the morning and you want to sit in on some what do you call it?
So the master trolling seminar starts at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. So if you want to come in to the master trolling seminar, that starts an hour before the show starts. It does not cost you more. It's the same money. You pay $18 to get in. That sits you down into that room. And there's all kinds of things that happen in those rooms. Then we also on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, we have our annual Muskie Sunday, which is really a huge thing. And that also starts an hour before. But what's going to be really interesting to see how many guys are in that Bass Academy. So the CSFL Bass Academy, which will take place Saturday at 1 o'clock, we got Brian Latimer, right? Who do we got in there? We got Jamie Bruce, right? We got JP DeRose.
JP.
We got Bob Zumi's going to make an appearance. We also have
The Joeys.
both Joeys are going to be in there as well too. And we also have Dave Mercer will be making an appearance, and I think there's another special appearance. A couple of guys will be coming into that room. So it's really great because they're a closed room seminar. Usually we get about 150 guys in that room. I'm thinking we're going to crack 200 guys. Usually Muskie's Canada is over 200 guys, so that'll be cool.
So there's a lot of information just thrown at you.
Yeah.
All this information is available at the.
We have to talk about the demo tank. So so all y'all for familiar with our tank, right? And it's usually at the stage.
Tank, yeah.
So we've taken it away from the stage. So we took a lot of stuff that we see at ICAST and, down in the States, it's a big thing. So what we did was we put the stage and we put it in the middle of the building, and we've invited all our manufacturers. So every half an hour, there'll be another manufacturer showing. So you'll see all the U Crush stuff. You'll be seeing all the U Berkeley stuff. It's
in water
presentation. Right? So
So
you'll be able
good.
to talk to them. So it's half an hour, and you get to talk to them and see it up close, right? So you'll be able to feel a little more intense.
You can talk to all the baits you want. Just talk to all the baits.
All the
up close and
plastics,
personal.
hard plastics, so much.
All the
stuff
hard stuff, all the soft stuff.
Am I
You can talk
forgetting
to it right here.
Are we forgetting anything?
We're not forgetting everything, but if you're wondering where is this stuff available, it's available at the Spring Fishing and Boat Show website. And we just wanted to sort of come on and fill you all in on what's happening, because it's going to be an exciting weekend. Not only is it exciting because Victoria's having a baby and she may not be there, we're not sure, but it's also exciting because I think this year, being the second year after, the big C19, we're all itching to get back out there. And I think there's a lot of wonderful new product that a lot of people want to see and touch and feel. Mm-hmm. And let's face it, this is the one place where you can see, touch, and feel everything. So,
and
we have
19 boat brands that are going to be there.
Yeah. So that's another thing. There's going to be a lot of boats there.
Yeah. There's a lot of boats. We got all the Lund boats. We got Vexus is going to be there. They got a great display. Our friends.
Have you seen that new rig?
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's not as nice as my Lund, but it's okay.
And, we got Crestliner there. For guys that like those heavy gauge aluminum, this year we have Kingfisher's got heavy gauge aluminum. Mm-hmm. We also have Kingfisher, and we have what's the one that they're bringing? Thunderjet's going to be
UMS.
In. UMS is also, that's going to be a new boat that's actually coming in from overseas, and then Alumacraft and also Alu Craft. It's ALU Craft is also heavy gauge boat. So we actually going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 heavy gauge boats for the guys, and not to mention, like, our dealers that are at the show also carry multiple brands like Stanley and other heavy gauge aluminum boats, if that's what you're into. Yeah. But our friends at Marsh's are there. We have Extreme Marines there. DT. We have the other Extreme Marine. We got it's so much stuff, and so many dealers that are going to be
DT there too. There.
What's that?
DT.
Yeah, DT's there. DT's got the Ranger, and he's got the brand new Triton there that's going to be there on display, which is kind of cool.
So at the end of the day, it's everything under one roof. Yeah. ATVs, boats. Yeah. You're going to see some ATVs there.
Yeah.
Skeeter, Smokercraft, Suzuki, Thunderjet, Triton, UMS, Vexus, Lowe's, Legend, Kingfisher, G3, Crestliner, Basscat, Alumacraft, ALU, Lund. I like that. So yeah, it's going to be a fun show. I'm looking forward to it because I get to see all you guys. It's not very often that we bump into each other on the water, so I'm super pumped to see you all there. I know Scotty feels the same way. And Scotty, you and I have literally a boatload of stickers to give away and some trade show goodies.
Yes, we do have a lot of stuff that we have on tap and ready to give away. But one thing I did want to mention, Andy, that you did touch on, because this is Family Day weekend, I think a lot of it goes unnoticed, or at least we don't talk about it enough, is what you have available for families, for young kids. You always have the climbing wall there. Of course, you have the trout pond, but you gear a lot of this stuff towards the kids too. So it is more than just a calling to the angling community or fraternity, however you want to look at it, but it's a call to all families because you have everything there that a family could possibly want to do.
The one thing that, we were down at the Toronto Boat Show and I touched base, like Moose and I actually did a seminar down there. And I wrapped up that whole deal with my tip. And the thing is I think that it's not just our future, but it's memories that we're going to create for ourselves. We can sit there and say, hey, we want our kids to fish so they know what it's all about. But, we got to ask ourselves the same memories that, we want our kids to, create with their grandparents. Like now I'm going to be a grandfather, their parents and everybody else, to get them off their stuff other than when they're watching these these shows, and to bring them out to the show, get them to learn, get them to get out there and fish, enjoy it, and have fun. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
really.
there's going to be plenty of opportunities. I mean, whether it's, fishing for the trout at the pond. So the pond is going to be there. The fishing hole, the casting lanes that,
there's 3 species of fish in that pond.
The CBAF is putting on the casting lanes, right?
Yeah.
So that's the kids' casting lanes.
Yeah.
The fly tying. So there's tons and tons of things for the kids to do.
And it's all free. Like nobody's charging for any of that stuff.
Yeah. Sorry, what did you say there?
All the seminars are free. And you know what? We forgot about the outdoor stage, and that's going to be our.
Well, no, we mentioned the stage, the Outdoor Canada stage.
Yeah. Did we say that you're going to be the guy there?
No, but I am the guy at the Outdoor Canada stage. You're going to learn a whole bunch of stuff. You're going to learn how to do recipes. I'm going to get a couple kids up there doing some, some trivia. So there is a lot of stuff for the family to do. It isn't a family friendly event, being that you're right. It is Family Day weekend. I find that when you see people come down on Friday, I just wanted to get out of the house and check the show out, and I'll bring my kids. You end up seeing them on Saturday, and then you end up seeing on Sunday again, because there's just so much to do and see. So, and then next thing you know, they end up working for Andy. I think that's how what's his name and his family got involved. So yeah, I met a gentleman there. I think it was 3 years ago. He says, my kids wanted to go to the show, so they came to the show. It was on the Thursday. Then they came back and seen me on the Friday. Then they came back and seen us on the Saturday. Then they came back and seen us on the Sunday. Yeah. There was just a lot for them to see and do, and the kids loved it. And then the following year, he ended up giving them a job. So,
you know what? And that's one thing I do want to mention. So, if for all you dads or moms are out there watching, real quick, if you have kids that are looking for community service hours, we don't really look for volunteers. But if you're looking for community service hours on Thursday, if you want to bring your kids down, they have to sign in. We need to be aware they're coming in, and all they're going to do is help people bring their stuff to their booth. We do it every year. So every year we offer that, and it just gets them all their hours, so that way they can graduate from school. So, and that's it, dude. Other than that, we're really excited. There's all kinds of stuff. Tune in at 9:00. I guess we're going to be.
And in 5 minutes here, we're going to go over the spring fishing and boat show. But Scotty, I think you and I are going to start. I'm going to join you guys every Monday night moving forward. We're bringing back the tech talk. So I've got a ton of gear from cameras to cords, cables, stands, tips, tricks, and techniques. I'm pretty much going to try to cover. I'm not going to throw it all into one evening, but I'll cover one camera or one piece of electronics per week. So I won't bombard you guys with too many zeros and ones. But I think there's going to be a lot of product at this show that you are definitely going to want to come and see. So do not miss the Spring Fishing and Boat Show this weekend. Scotty, thank you, bro.
Hey,
thanks,
man.
bro. Really appreciate your support. Looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I was able to take a 30-minute break, so I really appreciate this, lads.
You're Scotty, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Absolutely. You know what, man? And we say this every year. We should do one of the lives during the show. We should figure that out for next year. I mean, whether it's you, Big Jim, Jay Barnoots,
Big Jim's going to be having
Lawrence.
A segment there. You guys maybe
no. We're talking about like the four of them sitting and do like so every Monday night. Their live is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're listening to it on a podcast or whatever, but we got to make that happen somehow, some way. I think next year we should make that happen. I know we tried to do it last year, but life got hectic, and then I think things. Never mind. We'll just leave it at that.
100% agree, lads. You have fun tonight. We'll look forward to you at 9:00, and if we don't see you then, we will see you this weekend. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, buddy. We'll see you this weekend.
Love you, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
All the best, guys. Take care now. Always a pleasure to have those two on. As it was mentioned, they literally have a show on their own, and if you've ever been around them, I'm not even trying to make this more than it is. They are hilarious together. They are honestly. Their moose is Andy's yin to Andy's yang, whatever you want to call it. But they're two peas in a pod. They're a lot of fun to be around. Now, before we go, we have one important thing left to do. We got to get rid of the show bucks. Yeah, so we're going to share the screen right now as the boys are heading over to the CSFL or Spring Fishing and Boat Show site. So if you can do double duty, by all means. I need a number. Folks, I need a number. We got to shuffle the deck, Give me a number between 1 and 6. 1 and 6. Yeah, so what we're doing right now is we spun. Steve Morris was the winner last week. We gave away $100 in show bucks. These show bucks you can use at the Canadian-made tackle show and swap that we're going to be having on Woodstock March 3rd. Again, if you haven't bought tickets, I'm gonna say it again. This is your way to give back to the industry, whether you're able to make it or not. A $10 admission fee that you can buy online if you go to the website. It is your donation, your method of support for the Canadian tackle industry. And I'll tell you, they will truly appreciate it. So first number I see up here is 5. Rocky says 5. So we're going to shuffle it 5 times. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. We've got a bunch of names here that we're looking to give out some short bucks. So let's spin the wheel and find out who is going to be able to spend $100 at the show, courtesy of the Made in Canada Tackle Show and Tackle Swap. Let's find out who the winner is. Who is taking home the $100? It looks like it could be Ken, or is it Matt Bender? It is Matt Bender. Congratulations, Matt. You are the winner of $100 in show bucks, courtesy of the Canadian Tackle Show, Made in Canada Tackle Show and Swap. And as I said, congratulations, Matt. We will be making that available at the show. To all those who have won, Steve and Matt, congratulations. To all you who have watched. Again, it's been 2 hours of a heck of a lot of fun, and we hope we get to do it all again next Monday. In the meantime, we'll see you at the show, the Toronto Spring and Fishing Boat Show. We'll see you there amongst all of you who have said that you're going to be there. Of course, Moose and Andy will be there, and they'll be there to entertain us. In the meantime, have yourselves a great week. Love you all. Thanks for the support. Dave, it's time to take us away, bud. We'll see you there. Peace.
Well, as much as I hate to admit it, I guess we've run out of time. So I've enjoyed it, but I'm going to do something I haven't done since season 1. Turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end.